Jenice and you, a very important conversation as always every single Thursday, and today we are dealing with the conflict resolution caravan, a very important caravan. It's one that I know it's close to the heart of WPC, Sacha Goddard. She's been part of this program for quite a while, and Jenice the Coteau, senior mediator. She's from, of course, is it the Officium Training Limited?
Officium, yes.
That's right, that's right. So Jenice and Officer Goddard, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Always
you,
a pleasure.
Good morning.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Let me just start off with you, WPC, Sacha Goddard, in terms of, well, before we get into the full details of the conflict resolution caravan, just a little sentiment from you with your colleagues in this particular time of transition, as it were, via the TTPS.
Well, you know, there's one thing that police officers have learned to do very well, is to be resilient and to always weather these storms that come our way. These storms are daily, these storms are varying, and this, like any other storm, the organization is ready to weather, and we have continued to press on and do what we must do. We have a mandate to protect and serve our citizens, and that never stops.
Yeah, and all this obviously playing out in the public domain, but obviously we will stay on top of the developments in the news.
Yes, of course.
This particular development, it's not one that is new to us. We had conversations with the conflict resolution caravan. Tell me, what's the rollout? What are the plans for 2025?
Well, there's so many. This is the third cycle, as you know. The first two cycles, we would have trained over 20,000 young people in conflict resolution, de-escalation. However, this time, we're going back to service those schools that were clamoring for us to come, and we were unable to get to them in the first two cycles. And we are specifically focusing on ensuring that we fulfill that mandate of violence reduction. You know, we're in the era of an SOE right now, and there's a lot of talk happening about, you know, why now? Why now for a caravan? This is SOE, you want to hear about drugs, guns, you know, right? But the SOE was to target violence and violent crime. And the TTPS is ensuring that, through our partnership with Officium, that we target violent crime, not just from the tactical suppression after it's already committed, but also we are preventing our young people from becoming another statistic.
As the elders would say, taking front before front take you.
Of course.
Preventative crime strategy. Let me bring Jenice into the conversation, because we're living in a time where when we were going to school, yes, there would have been issues and talk might pelt. But now in the social media era, the children of today are dealing with way more than we ever had to really carry and deal with. When I mean, that wasn't wrong in our time.
No.
I mean, and we still, you know, we're still young with the backs, you know, we're still fresh, right? But the reality is it's a recent phenomenon.
Yes.
How much of a challenge does that pose, and how do you deal and kind of, you know, pinpoint on that particular issue being the source of lots of conflict?
Yes. So first of all, I commend the young people. Sometimes we go into the situation and we treat young people as though, you know, you're wrong. But I commend them because they are dealing with a lot more, as you said, than we have ever dealt with. So first of all, we go in and we tell them, listen, the reason for you wanting to act differently, do differently, behave differently, deal with conflict differently, is because your future is at stake. When you put these things out on social media, it doesn't go away. It's not just something that you can delete and move away from. The essence of conflict is really to protect your future, you know. Conflict resolution is not just about the moment, because losing your temper and losing your sense of thought and gravity in 5 minutes can destroy the 35-year-old you know. So we go in and we teach them from that standpoint. It's not just, you know, don't do it. It's not just, okay, use your phone as a better tool. No, we go to the why, and that is what is successful. Why do I want to act differently? Why do I want to avoid conflict? Why should I implement the tenets and the standings of conflict resolution into my life? Not just for the situation, into my life. It is because I have to protect my 35-year-old self.
Officer Sacha, and I want to thank you for that. Very powerful what you said there, Jenice. I want you to weigh in also to Jenice, but I'll start off with Officer Sacha here concerning children who based on association. So back in my school time, the talk was he's part of a squad. So you know he in a squad, so you leave here alone. Now, the claim is that they are children with gangster affiliations. Sometimes this is known to other students, and sometimes people do it not because they might want to really join, but it also gives them a layer of protection because it's understood. If you touch that youth man there, the repercussions and the force that coming at you will be very severe. How do we deal with that child who makes that kind of association to, in a way, prevent conflict, to create intimidation and fear among their classmates and fellow, students or people in the area?
Yeah, so it's gotten so bad, and I'm happy that you brought that up, because we have students now pretending to be members of gangs. We had a situation recently where a young man went into school and he was threatening his peers and threatening the security officers and saying, he'll bring his brother, he'll bring his father, he'll bring his big brother. When we investigated, he's the oldest child. He has no big brother to bring. So now they're putting on a persona that I am affiliated to these underworld people, and I can intimidate you to leave me alone, as you said, as a protective mechanism. It's important for us to recognize where those gang cultures exist. It's important for us to intervene when we recognize those gang cultures with skill, because back in our day, it was just a clique, a squad. Now we have anti-gang legislation, now we have all of these things that gives it a different language, a different tone in which we must treat with it, and understanding that it's not just talk. In my time, it was talk. Somebody come and beat you up after school and that's it. Now somebody come in to retaliate, firearms may get involved. So we have to treat it with skill and with strategic intervention to ensure that we quell it at its roots.
Well said. I'll let Jenice have the final say on this one.
We enter into these schools and there are different cultures that exist. And we can't deny that a gang culture exists in some of these schools and affiliations. However, when we begin to deal with it, one of the strategies that we use, the Caravan also has a component where we deal with the teachers. And we teach the staff how to recognize what a gang culture looks like when it is forming. Because it starts as a clique. It starts with they wanting to be affiliated to protect themselves and this and that because there is pressure in the school. It comes in that way that they want to make their lives easier in the school, and we want hierarchy. So we teach them how to recognize it when it starts and how to counteract those messages with competence, with praise, with separation. We use and we teach the teachers different intervention skills. Because really and truly, what the children want is assurance. What they want is to protect themselves. So we teach them, listen, competence, teaching the children how to be competent in different areas. Sometimes it's a skill. Sometimes it's a leadership skill. Put them in a leadership position in the class. Put them over so that they can feel that way. Competence usually quells that kind of anxiety in them.
Well said. And again, that's the importance of the Caravan and the strategy, as you could tell, giving the young people a chance to feel validated, to feel part of the equation, to know that their voice is being heard.
Yes.
Officer, we're looking to wrap things up. Where can folks go to get information if you've piqued people's interest? Is there anywhere they can go?
So, of course, the TTPS has been posting about the Caravan. So you can follow our social media websites, the TTPS website itself. You can also email us at communityconflictresolution@gmail.com, or you can call 396-8322, and we would be happy to facilitate any questions that you may have.
Officer WPC Williams Goddard touching base with us yet again, and of course Jenice, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Up next, your mental health matters with Johanse. Another interesting talking point around the corner. Johanse says today, I still want to